Alright, let's get this speedrun started and I'll explain things along the way. My goal here is to beat every opponent in less than 15 seconds while taking no damage. If you're not familiar with this game, it's called Punch-a-Bunch. It's a physics-based boxing game with a unique control scheme. It was created by an independent game developer in Sweden who calls himself Pontypants. It is very, very fun. I love these sorts of analog control-based games. There are 5 challenges for each foe, which you need to 100% the game. But for every foe, there is a challenge called Speedy 30, where you have less than 30 seconds to complete a knockout. Another challenge is called Tactician, where you have to achieve a knockout without taking any damage. This guy is so cool. He can levitate, he can heal himself. All the opponents have their own special moves, which are quite varied and very cool. But you won't be seeing them do much of that in this video because they're going to be busy getting their faces kicked in, which is, the whole point of this video. But yeah, my only gripe with the game was that there wasn't more of it. I felt like the moment I had gotten really good at stun locking my opponent, I was out of challenges. So at first, I set a challenge for myself called Speedy 20 to defeat all foes in under 20 seconds. But I realized in the amateur and intermediate leagues, it was actually pretty achievable to do it in under 15 seconds. But in the Pro Series, it felt nearly impossible. So I challenged myself nonetheless to push the bar down to 15 seconds, Pro League included. I was going to call it Speedy 15, the Speedy 15 challenge, but then I added a take no damage rule to make it a bit harder. So mix of the Tactician challenge and Speedy 15 challenge, hence the name Tactician 15. Not to be confused with Pen 15, the Pen 15 challenge. I don't want to know what that is. This guy's actually supposed to be the game developer himself. He's called Pointy. I don't know why Pointy Ponty. I don't know why it's different, but it's cool that he put himself in the game. I like that. This guy actually gave me a pretty good run for my money when I was learning how to play the game. I found him pretty difficult. I was kind of stuck on him for a while. But, it's a pretty skill-based game. It's all about just getting good at it. It's not about experience or equipment or anything. It's all skill. The Luchador is my favorite opponent in this game. He doesn't play by boxing rules. He'll just jump up there on the ropes and just body slam down you. He'll try to close on you. He'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. It's great. It's really fun learning how to deal with the special moves and the special abilities of the fighters in this game. This guy doesn't look familiar at all. Surely not inspired by anything I can think of. I should say this game is a lot more interesting than it looks in this video. There's actually a lot of strategizing and really fun puzzles and challenges as you're learning to master the game. It takes a lot of practice to get this good at stun locking, or at least it did for me. All right, who we got next? Piston Fist. All right, this guy, suggestive name aside, he's actually really dangerous. He will KO you in one combo if you leave yourself open for it. So you really got to watch out for this guy. He really infuriated me as I was when I was new to this game. He would KO me so quickly I didn't know it hit me. Kind of like getting a blood clot. All right, who we got next? Okay, so this was the one guy where the no damage rule actually made things really hard for me. I almost wonder if Ponty actually improved the AI on this guy, because this is the one guy you cannot stun lock, but you can push him out of the ring. You see I do this goofy little dance, and I actually managed to, almost fell off at the end. Did you see that? Oh my gosh. Super close. But yeah, made it happen. Hey, we're at the pro. This is where stuff gets really difficult and really crazy. Almost. This is the one Pro League guy that's actually easy before it gets crazy. But yeah, with the exception of the last guy, the no damage rule doesn't usually make it much harder, because generally if you can beat them in under 15 seconds, they're not landing many hits on you anyway. Not my smoothest run here, but I hit the target. Can you guess who's next? Yeah, you know who's next. Here comes the hurricane bitch. Here comes the hurricane bitch. Here comes the hurricane bitch. Katrina. I'm going to put the sound on for a second because you can hear how many big hits I land. I think it's one of the most impressive runs that I did in this whole run, honestly. Like you can hear the crowd screaming. This was actually ridiculously hard. I almost gave up on it. In fact, it was right about when I was going to give up that I actually nailed the win. And yeah, it took me, I think, like 5 straight days of repeated attempts before I finally got it. Another guy who was so difficult that I nearly gave up on it. I think this also took me like a week to beat this guy. I feel like it almost seems like he can take more damage. Maybe that's just my imagination because he's wearing that spacesuit and you could think he would like kind of like pad the blows or something. But yeah, I didn't get anywhere near close to 15 and suddenly I blew past it in this one run and it just felt like kind of serendipitous. Well, you're gonna die, clown! To quote Happy Gilmore, "You want to know how I got these scars? Yeah, you got them from me, dipshit." Probably my second favorite foe. This guy's so cool. All right, coming up next is where things got very real. The very first guy I fought, Toby, he comes back for like a redemption arc at the end of the Pro Series, and this fight sucks. For over a month, I battled him endlessly. From the lowest dungeon to the highest peak, I fought with the Balrog of Morgoth. Until at last I threw down my enemy and smote his ruin upon the mountainside. What the hell? Shut up, Gandalf. You didn't smote nobody. Did you see? Can you believe that? I fell in the crack between the two timers. I fell in its butt crack. Try as I may, I could not clear 15 seconds despite 2 full months of repeated attempts on this guy. I just couldn't do it. Eventually, I realized my only hope was if I could find an early opening. An early opening in his defense, if that happened to show up early, that was my only chance. It was the only chance I had. But fortunately, if given enough time, unlikely events are guaranteed to occur. Toby randomly decides to pull an early special move and gives me the opening I needed. Closer. Closer. Could it be? Could it really be true? Holding my breath for the timer that isn't a pathological liar, but the magic moment had come at last. And the final foe in the Pro Series, the Coach. Only now he's jacked like Boomy from Avatar. Fun fact, this was actually the first Pro Series guy I was able to complete in under 15 seconds. And it made me believe that 15 seconds was actually achievable for the Pro Series. Kind of regret that now after freaking Toby. Well, that about wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know if I recommend doing this challenge because I'll admit it was painfully hard. But if you do want to try it, I would recommend starting with Toby's Pro form first because it's all downhill from there. If you can do that, you can probably do the rest. If you can't do that, you can't do it at all. So, yeah, I hope you had fun. And go play Punch-a-Punch because it's really, really cool if you haven't played it. So, peace.